Everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this one, I'm talking about how to fail. So I'm talking about how to guarantee that you won't succeed, how to basically ensure the fact that you will die lonely, depressed, and sad, and broke, and how to make sure that you never achieve anything that you want out of life, and how to make sure completely with absolute certainty that nothing ever changes and that you stay stuck in your current situation and with your current problems and everything. So this is going to be a really valuable video for those of you who want to stay broke and stay sad. And I'm going to talk about 4 points. And I want you to understand that these 4 points don't just come from my head. I've helped 400 plus people start businesses, a lot of them from scratch. And I've seen where they get hung up. And I really want you to hear me here that these 4 are it every single time. Like I'm not seeing another trend. I was really thinking, how can I take the things that hang people up and boil them down into a single, very articulate video that if somebody really took what I'm saying in this video and actually did what I'm telling them to do, that they would actually have a better life and have a better business. Or if they did the opposite of what I'm telling them to do. But it's also for those of you who actually like being broke and like being sad. So if you're that too, then this is perfect for you. So the first point is responsibility. The second point is matrix. The third point is envy. And the fourth point is giants. And I'm going to break into these, each of them, one at a time. And I'm going to talk about what they mean and how to fix them. Because, I'm 23 years old and I've built a multiple 7-figure business. I can work from anywhere. I have a beautiful relationship with my wife. I'm fit. I'm strong. I get great sleep. I eat well. And I have a really happy life. And there's people out there that are my age that don't have that. Or that are even way older than me that don't have that. And I only feel empathy for these people. And I only feel a calling to wake people up and get them out of their own way. And this is, I think, how you do it. So, that said, this video is also for those who don't want to do that. If you want to stay sad and broke and depressed and frustrated and not at peace with your life, then do these things. So let's talk about this. The first is responsibility. So responsibility. What do I mean by this? Well, there's a really important idea in life generally and in business. And it's that everything that you are today, so this is you, so this is your person, and let's say these boxes represent the different areas of your life. And let's say you can grade these areas of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. Your 10 being ultimately satisfied and completely in control and happy and in love with your existence, and 0 being, if all these areas were at 0, you would probably consider taking your own life. And that's, the 0. And an individual who wants to stay broke needs to learn how to, for the rest of his life, never take responsibility for the areas in his life that are like a 5 and below. And he needs to just basically blame other people for them. So if he wants to stay broke and he wants to stay sad and frustrated, then he needs to stay blaming other people forever. It's actually really simple. So if you like being broke, then what you need to do is blame other people. And like the government is a great one to blame, because they're out of your control. They're this big power and they control the dollar, they control taxes, they control your country. And it's just like, it's actually really easy to blame. So if you like being broke and sad, then you should continue to blame the government. And you should blame your spouse too. So, you should blame the person you married, and you should blame the fact that they don't support your dreams. That's a really good one to do if you want to stay sad and broke. So that's a great one to do. Another one that's really, really good to do is to blame your parents. This is one that I see people do a lot. It's actually really smart because it's something you can't change. So if you want to stay broke and sad, blame your parents and blame them for what it is that they did to you in your childhood and how it's just affected you and how it's destroyed your life and everything. And I don't really open up much about my childhood, but as I've grown older, I've realized how traumatic it was and the things that I learned that as I reflect and as I'm moving into my middle 20s, I realize I had a lot of good things in my childhood, but there were a lot of really messed up things, and I think that's why I built what I built today, honestly. But I digress. I could talk about that maybe another time. Another great thing to blame is the industry you serve in. It's the prospect's fault that they don't see the value in your offer. It's not your fault. It's their fault. They're not smart enough to see the value in what you do. So obviously it's their problem. So these are all really, really smart things to do because, see, if you keep doing this, then you'll stay broke, and it's perfect. So you just keep doing that, and you'll just stay sad and broke, and it works out great. Now, if you want the inverse, and you want to, for some God forbidden reason, actually succeed, which, probably isn't what you want if you're watching this video, then what you should do is the inverse. You should actually look at all these areas of your life, your money, your health, your relationships, and you should really do the work of looking at all these areas and saying that everything that I've done is my doing. And this is terrible advice if you want to stay broke, because if you want to stay broke, then you keep blaming things. But if you want to actually do really well, then what you do is you actually do the opposite of that. So you look at your money and you say, well, I only have the amount in the bank that I really deserve, because the money that I have in the bank is just a reflection of the value I brought to other people. And my health is in my power and control completely, because it's my body. It's the body that God gave me. And it's my job to cultivate this thing and work it like a temple and really take care of it. And my relationships, it's not other people's fault that I'm selfish and I'm bad at communicating. It's not my fault. It's their fault because they don't listen. But if you want to have good relationships and you want to actually have a happy life, then you should take responsibility for maybe the things you've done to other people that you shouldn't have, or the way you've navigated your business relationships, and try and be at good terms with the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis. But again, that's terrible advice if you want to be broke. So don't do that. This is a video on how to fail. This is a video on how to fail. So you're watching this because you want to fail. So, this is how to do it. So that's the first thing that you want to do if you want to stay broke and sad, is you want to blame other people. Parents are a great thing to blame. Government's a great thing to blame. So take no responsibility for your existence and blame other people, and you'll actually stay broke. It's a really neat thing how this works out, because it works really, really well. It works every single time. I think actually every single successful person I've ever met doesn't do this, and that's why they're successful. It's very sad to see. So the second point is matrix. Now, in order to do anything good, you need to know how to think. And because good things come from a series of good decisions. And so your brain, I'll draw a brain here, really is just a series of concepts that come in through your ears and your eyes, primarily. We use touch and other things, but so we'll watch a video or listen to a video or watch something that's going on, and that actually literally plants seeds in our brain. And these seeds eventually sprout into, flowers or trees or whatever you want to say, and these kind of equal actions and things that we do. And so it's actually a brilliant strategy. So if you want to stay broke, then you stay plugged into the matrix of concepts. And the matrix is things like the news and politics. This is a very common one that people typically tend to plug into. And it's really good because, you basically are constantly in a state of fear, and nothing good happens when you're in a state of fear. So it works out great, because now it's impossible to make good decisions because you're always afraid of something. And so it'll be perfect. So that's what you do. And another good one is social media. So I'll talk about I'll say Fox and CNN. I don't care, whether you're Republican or Democrat. If you listen to this stuff, it's really going to be hard to, to be happy. Another one is social. And a great excuse to make is, well, if I don't listen to this stuff, then I don't know what's going on. Or it's not even a great excuse. It's a great thing to say, because if you want to stay broke, then you just keep doing that. You keep watching it. Because, you'll take in these ideas and you'll see the things that are going on, and it'll plant fearful seeds, and then your actions will be out of fear. And when you're acting out of fear, it's brilliant. It's like nothing good can happen to you, so you will stay sad forever. And so if you want to have a funeral where nobody shows up, and if you want to, have a terrible relationship with your spouse, and, you want to be overweight and unhappy with your body, and you want to be broke, then, keep doing this, because it works out great. So that's the next thing you should do, is stay right plugged in. And this is what the inverse, the successful people, the God forbidden wealthy, screw those guys. What they do is they look at this, and if you wanted for some reason to be happy and successful, you look at all these things that are going on in the public consciousness, and you create a void in your mind. So you have your actual thoughts and things that you actually care about and that you're actually working on. This is, for example, the data and metrics in your own business. This is, for example, your client satisfaction. These are the marketing activities that you're doing. This is the message you're putting out into the marketplace, the value you bring to your clients. This is the work that you do for them, everything. And you actually create a separation, a really solid degree of separation between the thoughts that matter and what's going on in the outside world, all these other conversations that are happening that actually don't affect you at all. Or at least that's what the successful people believe. And so they create a separation. And they understand that when they're in a state of fear, they make fearful decisions, which then leads to results that are actually worth fearing, which then leads to more fear. And so it's like they're screwed. And so if you want to stay broke, it's perfect. You just keep doing this, and you'll stay there. So again, this is a video on how to fail. The third is envy. This is another one. So what you want to do, and this is a really important thing to do if you are sad and broke, is you want to look at people who have succeeded, and you want to cast as many stones as you possibly can at them and try and tear them down. And you want to really put them in their place because they really deserve it. And what you start to do is, it's really neat how this works. What starts to happen is you're throwing these stones at this person, you're attacking them, right? They're up here on their big old egotistical pedestal and they're all successful and stuff. And what's really neat, what starts to happen is this person right here, you start to actually hate them. And it's really cool what starts to happen. You start to really not like this person. And over time, what happens is you build a negative relationship. You build a negative relationship with success. And so you actually, it's brilliant. What happens is in your mind, you begin to, this is your mind again, you begin to actually fear success. And you begin to actually not want it. Because obviously the people who are succeeding and who are happy, they're just greedy and, they're selfish and everything. And they don't care about the common people, and, they're just arrogant and controlling and bigoted and sexist and racist and all this. And so that's why they're there, and that's why you're the better person. And so if you want to stay unhappy, then you just envy the successful and hide your envy behind insults. And if you keep doing that, then you'll actually build a negative relationship with success, and you'll continue to crumble. And people don't necessarily even... It's actually a nice thing, because our brains, what they do is they automatically do this if we're not conscious of it. So you actually just have to stop thinking so hard, and then you'll just be broke. So if you just stop thinking about your own thoughts, and you just let the natural thoughts that happen with being human, because we're born broken, basically, we need to work on ourselves. Just let those natural thoughts happen, then envy is actually very natural. So it works out great that if you want to be sad, you just don't have to try. So just stop trying. So throw stones, let your envy control you, and basically let other people dictate, your happiness. If the more they succeed, the less happy you are, it's perfect. Because then the further they go, the further down you go, and it works out great. So that's a great way to stay broke and sad. And here's the last one. This is this is an important one. Isaac Newton has a quote, and if you don't know who Isaac Newton is, you really should. I was homeschooled, and I know who Isaac Newton is. Isaac Newton. Basically, in one sense, pioneered the modern understanding of reality. He was in charge of the great awakening of like, we no longer believe that the sun orbits us, we actually orbit it. But what you got to understand is that, he was completely wrong. Because, again, this is a video on how to fail. So he was wrong. Because one of his most famous quotes, it's something like, and you want to really learn to loathe this quote. It's something like, if I have seen further, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. And he was wrong. Because, again, we're trying to fail, so he was completely wrong. So what you want to do is when somebody extends a helping hand, or somebody has a program, or somebody has a shortcut or a way for you to learn from them, you want to just immediately assume it's a scam and write it off forever. Because then you're guaranteed to never learn maybe even an inch of good that might have come from that investment. And you want to value your money way more than you value your time and never make a decision to get help. And that's a perfect way to stay broke. And I've done the opposite. So I've spent $500,000 of my own money. That's not loans, it's not capital. That's my own profits from my own business into masterminds, courses, and people to help me. And I'm not perfect. And I realize how much there is for me to learn and grow in. And that's why I'm still, in my own judgment of myself, I still feel very broke. I feel like I'm very small still. And so you want to ignore the giants and don't stand on their shoulders. You actually want to stand at their feet and look up at them and cast stones, because then they'll forever be invalid in your eyes and you'll never learn from them. And it's perfect. So then, you're stuck in the matrix and you're just learning from all these things that are typically like you're scrolling social media and you're just letting that dopamine hit you, keep you nice and passive, nice and controllable. You let your envy take charge of you as well, and you compare yourself to those people constantly, and you don't know what to do with that, and you just start throwing rocks and you hate them. And so you actually hate success. You start to build a negative relationship with success. Don't stand on the shoulders of giants. So don't read books. Don't invest in people. Don't learn. Don't grow. Stay right where you're at. And then blame other people. So if you do these 4 things, I can pretty much guarantee that you will fail. And it's great, because that's what this video is about. It's how to fail. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and best of luck on your path to failure. I really want you to do your best to do these things. But what's nice about these things and how these things tend to work is, these 4 are actually default states. So really, they come naturally to you. You don't have to think that hard to achieve these states. So really, all you have to do is just let your sort of human nature kick in, and just let your flesh kind of kick at you and let it kind of control you, and let those bad thoughts in. And the sooner you do that, the better everything goes. So if you do these things, then you'll stay nice and broke and sad, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video. So if you want more content like this, be sure to let me know. I can make more videos on this topic of more ways to fail, because I know a lot of people, they want to stay failure, and they actually are very comfortable there. So I can give you more advice on how to do that, but I'll let you guys kind of guide me. What do you want to hear? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to mentor directly underneath me and learn all the strategies that we've implemented into our students' businesses to help over 100 people reach 6 figures a year, 100 to $999,000 a year, and over, I think it's 15 students as of January 2023 to $1 million a year or more, then I want you to go ahead and schedule your completely free consultation with us. There's no pressure to make a decision. We're not going to force your hand. We're just trying to figure out what it is that you need in order to take that next step to either start your online consulting or coaching business in any niche, any industry, or take your existing consulting or coaching business and really scale it to that next level in order to really sustain a business, put a lot of money in the bank very quickly, and serve a lot of people. Okay, so you can use the pinned comment on this video, or if you're listening on our podcast, go to treycockrum.com/schedule-page, and you can check out that page. It's just a simple schedule page. If you fill out a form and we want to know a bit about you, a bit about where you're coming from and what's motivating you to even speak with us, so that we can make sure we give you the best options. And if we notice that you're honestly not in the best place to get started, whether that's financially or time constraints or otherwise, we'll make some other suggestions to you, okay? Our reputation is everything to us, so we're only going to really make offers to people we know for a fact that we can help. And even if we don't make you an offer, it will still be some of the best 45 to 60 minutes you've spent on your business this year, because you're gonna get a custom strategy and be told exactly what you should do next, okay? So book your free consultation using the link in the description or in the pinned comment, or if you're listening on our podcast, treycockrum.com/schedule-page. See you there.